members of the university, graduands, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me enormous pleasure on behalf of the entire University of New South Wales family to welcome each of you to this graduation ceremony. In welcoming you, we also acknowledge the Indigenous owners of the land on which this university stands. We are here today to witness the conferring of awards on all those who are qualified to receive them. Ladies and gentlemen, in the 13 years, or almost 13 years, that I've been Chancellor of this wonderful university, I've done many, many graduations. And quite often, the cynics that I know, many of which come from the medical faculty, sit me down and say, "Don't you get bored?" After all, one graduation's the same as another, they say to me. And I assure them that each graduation is absolutely marvellous. And they walk away thinking I must have a pretty dull life. But I deny it, because in the next hour, hour and a half, we're going to celebrate nothing else but achievement. And who wouldn't want to be involved in a celebration of achievement, whether it's for bachelor's degrees, master's degrees, or indeed for the highest degrees we have, namely our doctorates. On behalf of everybody at the University of New South Wales, congratulations to each and every one of you who are receiving awards here today. We congratulate you first on choosing the best university in the universe. Second, on managing to jump over all those boundaries, all sorts of sofas, chairs and whatever that we put in your way before you got to the finish line. And congratulations in this life of seeking to do something and actually doing it. So congrats to everyone. May I also, ladies and gentlemen, to those of you who are here as members of the family, friends of those who are receiving awards, congratulate also you. If you've been, like I have over the years, helping, girding on my children to do awards, good on you for being there for them. Good on you for cheering them on, and thank you for being here today, especially as the sun is shining outside and there's probably plenty else to do. I think you should also savour the moment and enjoy. Ladies and gentlemen, although I have given many, many addresses at graduations, I find the next part of this ceremony probably the hardest thing a Chancellor does. It's my job, following centuries of precedent, to give to you who are receiving awards today some heartfelt and brilliant ideas and advice. I go back to when I sat where you did, which is just under 100 years ago. And I can't remember the ceremony at all, let alone who gave the advice, let alone what the advice was. So over the years, I have nurtured and nurtured just two pieces of advice, which I give to you from my heart, because no one then can criticize it, but also I sincerely believe these are two good pieces of advice. The first is to say to you that what I've learned since I left university is that as you become more expert in things, there is a great tendency to become narrow. And I want to make it quite clear, I'm not against specialization. I compliment all of you, particularly those who've got our highest awards here today. Specialization is good, it's great to be an expert in a particular area. But to be a human, to be a fine person, one's mind has to be open. And my first piece of advice to you is fight narrowness. Keep one's mind open to what else is going on in one's community. Savour new ideas. And this usually applies to males, but I'll say it for everyone. Don't get carried away with the fact that you are a specialist and wonderful in one particular area, because there will be someone who's doing something wonderful down the street in a different area, who's worthy of looking at and remembering we're all wonderful and we all contribute. My first piece of advice is fight narrowness so that over the years you can become proud of yourself. And in my opinion, to be an expert in what you do, to be wonderful in your profession, but to be broad in your thinking, to be open to a commitment to one's society, are, in my opinion, the foundations for becoming close to the ultimate prize, which is to say to oneself one day, I've done all right. And by the way, as soon as you say it, just remember there's plenty more to do. First piece of advice, fight narrowness. The second piece of advice is one you'd expect me to say as Chancellor of a wonderful university, and that is, please don't be strangers. Today, some of you become part of our alumni for the first time, and some of you renew your vows in that regards by a second or even third degree. For years, I've been saying, savour the concept of being part of a great university. And you only have to look at the stage here today where we had to put out extra chairs because of the commitment of our academic staff to be here today. This place is full of great teachers, great researchers, and I might say great graduates such as yourselves here today. Don't forget that relationship. In Australia, we tend often to forget that sort of umbilical cord that is there with the university that you worked hard at and worked hard with you. Let me say, I find it amazing wherever I go. People jump up and tell me that they went to Cambridge, Oxford, Stanford, and indeed Harvard, some of those lesser universities. And they're proud of this link, and so they should be. But so too should we be proud, as I am, of being part of this university. And if I may put to you, if that doesn't buy it, which for many years people looked at me sceptically, have a think about what's ahead of us in life. Artificial intelligence, all sorts of things are going to make our lives absolutely better, but only better if we keep up to date. Only better if we use the relationships of the individuals we've met and the bodies that can teach us. What better way of keeping up to date, being involved and having somebody behind you than to remain strong and involved with our university? My final point on that is, please don't be strangers. We feel you're part of our history, and there's no doubt you are, but we also want you absolutely to be with us in the future. Two pieces of advice: fight narrowness to be a great person, and second, don't be strangers. Keep with us, an open invitation, and one we very strongly want to keep to. Well, old chancellors can go on and on for days, but this one will stop ahead of time, as they say. And I now call upon the Dean of the Faculty of Medicine, Professor Rodney Phillips, and by the way, I welcome him back. Absolutely delighted. It's lovely to see you. And he will present to us all of you who so richly deserve the awards that you're going to now receive.
Chancellor, may I thank you for your wise words and for your welcome back home to the University of New South Wales. Will the candidates for admission to awards please stand? Chancellor, I present to you the candidates for admission to awards.
In the name of the Council, and by my authority as Chancellor of this wonderful university, I hereby admit each of you to the awards for which you are qualified.
Graduates, please be seated.